public safety.
No.
No. Herkimer County Planning Development Committee, to order, please. Looking at the-
I give you one?
No, I had my own.
Yes.
Planning Development. Let's see, who do we have here?
Oh, Carol.
1, 2, 3.
Bernie.
That's what you were.
Put these people in other places and sell them. We're running
Okay, our meeting is in session. We have a quorum here. Meeting at
10:30. There's more playing.
Ray
10:30, sorry.
and Jim. Anybody else? Agenda's coming around. Agendas are coming around.
Can I use that we hold number 4 to last?
Pardon?
We hold number 4 to last.
Four is the last? Yeah.
Can we make 4 or 5?
Why not?
Because the other thing you read.
All right, first item, contract with BOCES to provide services for Workforce Investment Act eligible youth. That's through the One Stop.
I'll move it.
Wait a second.
Is that a grant, Jim?
It's all federal money.
It's all federal money.
Pat, right?
Any other further discussion?
Is there anybody else besides BOCES who could even do it?
No.
Okay.
No, it's strictly.
We don't have the houses.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Is there even a dollar amount? That is?
I'll get it for you.
All right, item 2, approve the Workforce Investment Act local plan. That comes out also out of the One Stop. Actually, Karen was here earlier.
Yeah,
She's going to speak
I don't want to have to
regarding
wait
it.
here for that one.
Do we have a motion on that? Where am I here? Second?
Kurt did.
Kurt,
I'll second.
the motion, second. Oh.
All right.
No, I was just looking at it here. Any discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? Passed unanimously. Item 3. All right, this is dissolve the local development corporation. Jim, you want to, or?
Yeah,
Just do a couple things.
we had, I think the state had taken away some responsibility from the IDAs of the ability to do programs to not-for-profits, the colleges, hospitals, those kinds of things, where they could, it was a good interest rate for those guys, but also it was a moneymaker for the IDA, where they charge, I think, 0.005%, so they pick up a few bucks every year. State legislature did away with that a couple of years. The answer was to go to these local development corporations. However, the state in turn has gone after local employees who have worked for these local development corporations and taken away their retirement benefits. We had passed this program by the legislature. We did not have a program go through. The IDA saw the result of what the state was doing, going after their employees, and they've now asked that they be removed as far as the group that would run the LDC, and since we don't have anybody to run it, at this time, we'd like to disband the LDC.
And not only that, talking with Mark, there's been no interest expressed in the last 2 years regarding that program.
No, they passed it out to all the hospitals, all the,
When did we create this? I remember doing it.
a couple of years ago.
2 years.
And it was so that the nursing homes and all the other kinds of places, they could do things for them. And we've never been able to do anything else.
No, Mark, we had, I think we had 5, 6, 7, 8 projects out there at one time, but none of them ended up using this.
This was for the
And if they don't, and they no
Civic
longer
project.
think that it's a good idea to be able to do that, or they don't want to do it because it might jeopardize someone's retirement.
Well, number one, that nobody's utilized it, and number 2 is the retirement issue.
And it's all IDAs don't get retirement, it's just we took proactive, this legislature before,
No,
we took
I think-
proactive to give them
I
retirement.
think most do get retirement. But I'm not an expert on that.
Any other discussion? Do I have a motion by the motion?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why do we need to dissolve it? Why can't we keep it just in case? Would they ever end up hiring anyone
Well, I
specifically?
think we'd have to go back and figure it out, who we're gonna use them, because you have to start filing reports with the state,
when you use it, or we've been filing reports?
No, we've never filed a report with the state.
But now you would have to just by having it, and
Yeah,
saying
absolutely.
there's not a no activity report.
IDA's starting to get pressure to file reports. They're saying, no.
Do I have a motion on this?
No.
All right,
Ray?
Ray, Jim, second. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Passed. All right, we're gonna go down to number 5. The contract invested for office space and one-stop career center.
Yeah, these are the, we charge $7,000 to the people who are sharing rent with us in that spot. Sharon's been after this for a while. We were fortunate enough to finally get a contract to acknowledge that they owe us the $7,000. So this is good news.
Are they going
They owe us
retroactive?
for,
Just to July 1st.
And then they're not, because they've been there, right? Vessett's
For a
been
long
there.
time.
But they haven't been paying?
Haven't paid anybody in the state.
What's Vessett's stand for, Jim?
Oh, rehab, former
yeah.
vocational rehab.
Contract with continuing education, vocational rehabilitation.
Okay.
all right, do I have a motion?
I've worked with them for years.
Motion by Kurt, second by Ray. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Those opposed? Passed.
Jim, is they're paying us retro to past July, or a new contract started July?
This July.
Okay. The other item is North Valley Water Authority. I think
I'll take that.
Jim wanted to have a few words regarding
Yeah,
that.
just an update on what's going on. Jim Wallace and I and Bernie and Fred have sat down with a couple of the parties, mainly Dan Bescher. We met with him a couple weeks ago. I had a good 2.5-hour conversation with him. You know, he gave us, the speech that we've heard before, and, their stance on it. We heard how they came to their agreement, and, I guess it's a mutual agreement between the two. We've been told for a long time that there wasn't enough water, then all of a sudden the Canal Corp does a 180 on us and says there is enough water. So we can't understand it. But Dad came, he gave his side of the story. We've talked to Tony Pacini. Jim and I went to see Tony last week, or 2 weeks ago, whatever.
Right.
We expressed our concerns with Tony. He understood, the political side. We said, there's more than, we understand Frankfurt and Schuyler are going to get the water. That's no problem. That's part of the agreement. But we've got other residents or taxpayers in the county that have concerns, namely the West Canada people. That was our big concern there. Is there going to be enough water, 4 to 6 million? Is that guaranteed? Show it to us in writing. And the flows on the West Canada, they can be increased. We also had a talk with Judy Drabicki, came in.
She is who?
She is the commissioner, the regional commissioner for Region 6, DEC. We're trying to schedule a subsequent meeting with, another meeting with her and her technical people. She didn't bring her technical people to give us the technical answers. Our concern with her was the 4 to 6 million gallons. Where is it in writing, and can we get more? And is that 4 to 6 million part of that agreement, or is it above and beyond the agreement? We were told it's above and beyond, so we're with it. At which level was the concern? Was it at the 48 million or the 50 million, whatever?
Yeah, the 32 or the 50.
32 million. Talked to Mark Butler also, and when we had that first resolution a few weeks back with Mark, or when Mark came in, we sort of shot from the hip, and I'm glad we put that on the background. Mark wants us to push this issue, okay? And I'm asking for direction here from the committee, how they want to handle it. My feeling is this: if we alienate people, we're not going to be sitting at any table. We won't have any ears that we can lend our conversation to. So I think we're headed in the right step by talking to people. We're at the table, and then formulate a plan afterwards. Mark's concern is that, he thinks that they're going to pass this agreement within 2 weeks. I don't know if I agree with that, but.
If they do, what they do.
We're out of luck anyways. We're not going to be listened to anyways.
And if they pass it as is, it's so general, a lot of situations.
We want details, And in order to get details, we gotta talk to, we're trying to talk to Brookfield Power. Tony Pacini's trying to get us a contact, Mark's trying to get us a contact.
Then why won't 20% appoint somebody from Herkimer County to the water authority?
We have one.
We
That's
have
why I
one.
wonder,
That's
was she at the
another, that's
table?
another meeting we have to, John Wallace is not on the committee, by the way. I talked to him the other night and saw him, and I thought he was on. He was on, but they replaced him with somebody from New Hartford. So Betty says he's our only,
Was she at the meetings?
Can she vote?
yeah.
That
Our
you had,
meetings?
yeah.
No, but we're gonna schedule a meeting with her, I told Jim.
Yep.
and-
Is she gonna come before this
If
committee?
Placenta
And give
cannot bring
reports?
her, can she bring her in?
I mean,
Yes.
She can vote.
That gets back to Rob's thing, that it's much appointed to state.
Whoa.
Well, I think we have to.
I think if we throw an injunction on now, nobody will wanna talk and say the heck with you guys.
Yeah, but if they
Yeah, but
approve
with the
it,
injunction, they have to answer it. Put an injunction on it.
Right, yeah, how do you get more CFS to the West Canada Creek?
That's it. If we can get more
Federal law
CFS,
says we get 160 CFS to the West Canada Creek. Right now, in tough times, 285 CFS will be released by Brookfield Power at minimum now. They're doing that for like 16 hours, then they're manipulating the system for another 6 hours, releasing 400 and 1,000 CFS to try to get better rates. I mean, that's how the grid works for electricity these days.
Yeah.
So they're manipulating that. So if the federal law says we only are entitled to 160, and they're releasing 285, Canals is still in 80 because they're having trouble. They haven't recovered from their storms.
Right.
I know more about canals than I've ever known in my life. But my point is, if that's the issue that concerns me, if we're already supposedly getting more CFS than the federal FERC license says,
then we're hurting.
where do we go?
you have no
The thing is,
argument.
everything that comes down to West Canada
That's why,
is coming
that's
from
why
power
Jim's
plants.
he's trying to like.
Everything.
There's some thoughts that have been thrown out there.
They
She's
regulate
trying to
it.
get-
Are
That's
they
the only
willing
thing
to
going
write
to
the
West
agreement to
Canada.
put more Herkimer County at the
That's
table?
how they're letting
That
too
was
much
brought
water
by
out.
Jim too.
Well, what was their outcome, what was their, who is this,
Well,
Tony
Richard
or
Tony.
Bishop?
That was a bad,
Got
was.
no grounds to stand
No.
up for anything.
It'd be a political thing with Tony, Jimmy broached that one.
We need more representation. We're
Definitely.
not gonna be a majority.
Well, the concern I have, I think you reported that lady, Cesney or whatever her name is, has been reporting to the Schuyler Town Board rather than reporting to whatever committee was gonna have oversight here.
It's important that whoever the rep is, has to realize that it's not just about
I don't know.
water in those two districts. It's about, you know, water that goes to the West Canada. We got a world-class trout stream that's barely surviving. You know, they're dumping 80 CFS down 9 Mile Creek or something that's pretty much a dry creek. That isn't a trout
With or
stream.
without the water.
That's going the other way on the canal.
But we sit here now then, if we take what Mark Butler is cautioning, that in the next couple of weeks, the whole thing's gonna be approved, and then we have no leverage, other than hoping somebody will welcome us and take pity on us?
I disagree.
Oh, no, I'm
They
asking.
can all be
Because, and again, I think we're learning every day that we go through this house. The fact that this agreement isn't a dead deal, because of the fact that modeling still has to be done and has to be proven. So I
It's
don't
gone
think
through a
it's-
full cycle.
Is the court requiring that, though? Isn't it the court that this thing's gonna be brought back before them, is it?
Yes. But my understanding, Jim, correct me, or Bernie, correct me if I'm wrong, this is still a temporary until, because they're looking, I think Bernie alluded to it, they're looking for 52, that's 76 million gallons a day, the water authority. So this is step one.
And DEC is, what action, they're the ones that are gonna do what for
DEC
us?
said they would come back to us and let us know where they stood on this whole thing.
And but before this passes, DEC has to do something, right? They have to make take a position? Jim's saying no, you're
I
saying
don't
yes,
know.
he's saying
No,
no.
I want it in writing from the DEC that this 4 to 6 is guaranteed.
But can this agreement get passed without the DEC taking any action?
Yes,
They don't have to stamp anything.
that's, isn't that what she
We're
said?
getting
That's the
next,
impression I
we're
got.
getting next
You talk to one,
from DEC, right? Bernie?
Yeah, that's the impression I got.
That they don't have to have any
She
role
has
in this.
any- yeah, DEC.
That they've had no role to date, a very minimal role.
And that's not what Mark
Because
Butler
I
does.
asked about the environmental effects and why shouldn't, they had to do a secret on it because of the increased usage. And they said, no, it's not necessary to do that. It would not have that much of an effect. That it would require them to do so. Not have a secret.
A seeker doesn't tell you that there's not much of an effect, or they're prejudging the results of the
She's more or
seeker?
less saying it would not be necessary because of the
We thought that
change.
might be an avenue.
Yeah, that's where we thought we might be able to follow it.
You can't compare what's happening now, what's gonna happen next year, because that drought happened before this agreement was even announced. And they didn't implement those procedures. So you have to give it a full year cycle, you know, or full couple year cycle to see if what they're saying is gonna help out. I mean,
But if the agreement is approved, then what is the formal course of reopening or changing the formula? Is it prescribed, dictated within the agreement?
I think the initial agreement would be 32 of them, right? And going beyond that.
Right.
it's going above the 32 million.
No, not the initial, because this is where Mark Butler has a problem. Even before they move, if they're gonna move beyond the 32, he feels that there should be several years at that level, determine whether there's any possibility of going.
Before you give more, before they
Before
take
you
more.
give more, that's what he's saying.
But he's saying it and they're not.
Yeah.
They think it can be done, like I said, they did a 180 just like that overnight.
I mean,
Canals and-
or just,
No, there's not enough water. How many meetings did we go to, Jim? And now all of a sudden, oh yeah, there's enough water.
25 billion
it's
gallons
because
of
people
water.
are coming around and told them to cut out the
Talking
crap
about
out of it.
10 million gallons a day. That's the water authority.
You know what bothers, one of the things that bothered me is when Mark gave us that presentation, so much of the initial agreements were done with handshakes and verbals. I think we've got to try to be so certain that that's not the case now, that things really be documented. Because of the people sitting in this room, check the age count, there's going to be a few of you when the next big drought
I
comes.
said, give it to us in writing. And
Will they
They
willing?
don't want to put anything in there specific.
Can you
now.
confirm
They
in
don't want
writing to
anything in
them
there
your
specific.
understanding?
I
Can
think
you
that's
con-
what they wanted
That's what we're
to do,
trying to
though.
tabulate here. We're trying to get everybody's.
Within a week or two, try to come back and say, here's our position. We think, I'll just throw things out, that 300 CFS should go into the West Canada Creek. That 6 million gallons ought to be permitted. That the levels at Hinckley shouldn't go below X.
But can't you also, within that document, say, you have assured us this, and this, and the onus is then on them to say, oh, wait a minute, no, we didn't, you know, rather than just sit back and wait.
I don't
That's
know
why
what
we
it's
need to
gonna
be
do
at the
for you.
table, because if
Better make us feel better.
If we
can-
tick them off, they say we don't want to. As a matter of
Sooner.
fact, Pat Becher canceled the meeting on us when he heard that we passed that resolution, and I had to just talk to.
But sooner rather than later, do we put something in writing to them, rather than, and not wait for the
Well,
agreement to be
that's,
signed?
listen, next week, we're gonna try to get DEC, and we're waiting on Brookfield and, who else? Betty, gonna bring Betty in. And we'll talk to her, and then maybe, you know, later, maybe if we have the next, finance meeting, will we schedule anything else after next week?
Whatever you want to do. I think it's important to schedule.
All right,
what we
maybe
gotta
we
schedule.
could have one early part of the following week, planning development meeting, and let you know how we make out, because, you know, Mark's got a legitimate concern if they do pass it. I don't see the lawyers working quick on this, but then again, it's Albany lawyers, so they maybe they push it. And that's it.
Motion to adjourn. Okay, is that any other, for the good of the organization? Otherwise,
So I'll just one thing, I'll tell Mark that we're gonna give us another week.
So you see where we're headed,
To
guys?
see where we're headed.
If Jimmy's not headed in the right direction, please say something.
I think-
More water needs to go to West Canada.
We don't have any problem with anything else.
Whatever it is, 6 million, 4 million,
But more has to be documented in writing.
has to be
about
all
what's
in
being
writing.
said.
Everything has to be in writing. And then the third thing is.
Well, even
levels
us
of
giving it
heat.
to
We
them.
thought those were the three important things.
And their argument is that we're not part of the two.
But we're still Herkimer County, we should still be able to put it in writing.
But the thing is, in that meeting, Mark agreed that we
It's
just.
not a guarantee the water was gonna be a
Remember, I was one arguing with that as well. And then now he's turned to change his mind because of this.
But I mean, it's-
Well, you know, he figures.
There's no guarantee on that water line when you buy a
He's
can.
saying it's another week or two, change contract.
Never was, when you bought it.
He changed his mind.
No, I was just asking. I mean, I know he was actually, I think.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
No, we don't.
We don't. I'm looking for one. Ray, do I have a second?
Yes.
Those in favor?
And
All right.
Opposed? We're adjourned.